Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. It's been like 2 months since I have last made a video, just so swamped with my various writing commitments, but I thought, get back in the game, particularly because today, the 15th of April, is the 114th anniversary of the Titanic's sinking. And so this is going to be based off of a blog post I originally published on the 16th of September of 2024, Suggestions for Original Titanic related historical fiction and alternative history. And this is going to be one of those videos with crossover booktube and authortube appeal. So, let me know down in the comments what's your favorite kind of Titanic historical fiction or alt history to read about, or if you're a writer, like what have you possibly considered, writing about, or what piques your interest in general. And I will leave some links down below in the description box to a couple of Titanic related channels I really like here on YouTube. So let's just start getting down with it. The sinking of Titanic has become one of those historical events like World War II and the French Revolution, which many people accuse of being overdone, boring, and the same story over and over again with different names and slightly tweaked details, which, kind of really beyond insulting to those of us who actually enjoy researching and writing about those events. We're not just mindlessly copycatting and just not being original. We're actually putting lots of, effort and care into our stories. But anyway, unlike those other events, Titanic stories necessarily only span about a week from the start of the journey to the arrival in New York. There's not a lot of room for originality, as there is in an event lasting many years and unfolding across multiple countries. So how can you provide an original angle for such a well-known story? Historical fiction. 1. A person, couple, or family who wanted to or were supposed to be on the ship, but had to stay behind because of, for example, arriving late, couldn't afford tickets for everyone, a pressing emergency that came first. Let's say that the father, God forbid, broke his leg on the carriage to the ship, or a terrible disease and the whole family was quarantined, let's say, scarlet fever, something like that. How did their lives unfold from that point, and what are their reactions upon learning of the sinking? 2. So many people reported premonitions about the disaster, both people on the ship and those who didn't sail. How about the story of someone who chose not to sail or decided to get off the ship before, sailed obviously, because of such a dream or nagging feeling? 3. Someone who lives in Halifax when the recovered bodies arrive for burial. Of the 306 bodies found by the Mackay Bennett and brought to Halifax, the nearest port city, 150 were buried there. Because Halifax is closer than New York, a train for survivors was sent en route until word came that they were arriving in New York. 4. Someone who lives in New York when the survivors arrive. This was a major event that eclipsed everything else going on. 5. The inquiries which were held in New York City and London to try to determine who was responsible and what changes needed to be made to reduce the chances of a similar tragedy in future. Who doesn't love a really well-written, well-done courtroom drama? It's just so many amazing possibilities, so many different directions in which to go. 6. The rescue ship Carpathia, depending upon your pronunciation, and her heroic captain, Arthur Rostron, don't get nearly as much love and attention as they deserve. He went all out getting the ship ready to receive survivors and traveled 17 knots per hour, 3 above his ship's top speed, through that same dangerous ice field in the middle of a moonless night with that frigid temperatures to get there as soon as possible. How about a story of a Carpathia passenger or crew member? That's an idea I've really been percolating about for the last couple of years. This is definitely on my to-be written queue someday in future. 7. A Titanic survivor dealing with survivor's guilt or PTSD, either soon afterwards or years later. And speaking of, next month May is going to be Mental Health Awareness Month. So what greater time, look forward to, yet again, I'll be doing some videos themed for Mental Health May. So if you're into that kind of content. 8. Someone involved in the 3-year building of the ship at Hartland and Wolff shipyards in Belfast. This provided work for 15,000 Irish, who largely worked without safety equipment and suffered 246 injuries. 6 people died during construction. 2 died in the workshops, and 1 died just before the launch when a piece of wood fell on him. 9. Someone who decided to return home abroad after the arrival in New York. Many widows, particularly with children, felt they had little choice but to do this in an era when women, sadly, were financially dependent upon husbands or male relatives and often were denied housing as well. If they had no family in America, returning home seemed even more obvious. And like so many people these days, I mean, I'm not saying they're deliberately, like maliciously ignorant or anything like that, because they genuinely haven't known anything else, but it's just so hard for many people under a certain age to understand just how women's lives were deprived in the past. Like it was almost impossible for many women to, find jobs. I mean, of course, like, factories are always hiring, but if you have children, I don't think we're hiring married women or widows with children. Like we only hire the, single women, and like you had to have a male guarantor to, sign for like renting an apartment or buying a house, getting a mortgage, buying a car. So like these women pretty much like had no choice. Number 10, many people in Ireland and Southampton, England, were deeply impacted by the tragedy, since so many of their compatriots were on Titanic as both immigrants and crew. Relatives and friends were lost, and widows and children of lost crewmen faced a very difficult future. Lucky number 11, which is another thing I've been like hoping to write someday. A children's picture book or chapter book about one of the 3 canine survivors. And of course, like I know the living human survivors were the most important, what everyone talks about, but I just feel it's, kind of unfair. Many people don't like realize or care about or pay much attention to. There were also 3 pet dogs who survived. So why not honor them and feature them in a children's picture book or like a chapter book, maybe even a middle grade book. Like think of the awesome, like fun, cute possibilities. And 2 of the dogs were Pomeranians, my favorite breed, and the other was a Pekingese. Alternative history. Number 1, the most obvious story is Titanic never sinking, but there needs to be a compelling story beyond that. Like that's the whole point of alternative history. It's not just, like the Germans won World War II. Like what's the main angle beyond just that? So maybe, for example, one of the passengers plays a pivotal role in history or develops a life-saving medication. Like we'll never know like who exactly like was drowned. Like maybe one of those passengers could have grown up to cure cancer or do some kind of like really innovative like surgery, or just like a great artist or writer, and we were just deprived of all of that. Number 2, Titanic still strikes an iceberg but doesn't sustain enough damage to sink, and like do with that what you will. Like they'll put the people onto the lifeboats until it's like safer to go back on, or they don't even need to put anyone on lifeboats because it's just like minimal damage. Number 3, the iceberg damage is the same, but Captain Stanley Lord of Nearest Ship Californian takes the distress rockets seriously, and wireless operator Cyril Evans doesn't turn off his equipment and go to bed. So many more lives might have been saved had Californian come to Titanic's aid. Number 4, Carpathia strikes an iceberg while racing to the rescue and sinks or sustains serious damage to, God forbid. There would be even fewer survivors from this double wreck by the time the next nearest ship found them. It's like, really, many people don't know about this or like really like appreciate it. This was like a total miracle. I mean, of course, like the people dying, that was like beyond like tragic, but like it could have been so much more tragic if like the rescue ship had gone down as well because of the perilous conditions it was going through too. Number 5, both ships are lost without anyone knowing what happened, and the survivors perish in the stormy, freezing sea. God forbid. This double disappearance becomes one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, and it could be like a dual timeline type of story, like, a passenger on one of the ships in the past and someone in the present or in the future like trying to solve this mystery, or maybe it's just someone in the present like trying to solve it, and like, we finally found the wrecks of both of them, and I'm gonna like slowly piece together what happened from the forensic evidence. Number 6, there are no Titanic survivors by the time Carpathia arrives due to those weather conditions, and like how is history going to unfold from there. Number 7, there are enough lifeboats, or the existing lifeboats and collapsibles are completely filled or overloaded, saving about 1,200. Number 8, Titanic stays afloat long enough to get all those extra people to safety. Number 9, the lifeboat drill wasn't canceled earlier that day, leading to a much more orderly evacuation. Number 10, Charles Lightoller evacuates the port side like William Murdoch evacuates starboard by letting men besides sailors into lifeboats. Lightoller's MO was women and children only, while Murdoch let men board if there were spare seats, like they kind of like got their signals crossed with what Captain Smith told them. It wasn't, like only the women and children, if, like give them the first priority, but if there are still like seats available and no other ladies or children are coming forward, like let some men on them as well. Number 11, lucky number 11, my lucky number. Titanic collides with the city of New York at its launch and has to stay in Southampton for repairs, thus avoiding the iceberg. Thank you very much for watching all the way through to the end. Please let me know down in the comments what your favorite Titanic historical fiction novels are, or alternative historical novels. Which of these ideas I mentioned did you most enjoy, appreciate, made you want to write about them or read about them? Are there any Titanic books on your current to be read? Have you ever written Titanic historical fiction or alt history yourself? What are your favorite Titanic related films? Like, I've never seen the 1997 film, as I've mentioned in so many, prior videos for so many reasons. But, other than that, what are your favorite like Titanic historical fiction dramas, like any TV movies, anything like that, documentaries about Titanic, just like your favorite films in general, and books about this great tragedy? Like, when did you first get interested in it? Like what have you read a lot about it in nonfiction as well? Just like let me know all things Titanic related down in the comments, and I will see you guys hopefully before the end of the month again, when my writing commitments leave me a little bit more free time to make videos again. As I promise, I have a couple of videos coming up planned for Mental Health May, so like look forward to like fresh content, booktube and authortube content as well. So thank you again very much for watching. I will see you soon. Bye.